Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and in the Patreon today, if you want to join, go to DAIXRP.com to join through the Patreon, or click the join button below any of my YouTube videos and you can join through YouTube. Today we are going to talk about three things. 1, why Ripple and XRP matter. 2, plans within plans. And 3, I would call this my they all know theory, or they've been given assurances theory. Okay, first I want to show you this, folks. With the markets on the move, do not forget, doesn't matter, you can stare at these charts and tell yourself how much money that you think you've made on crypto all you want, but if you don't have the liquidity to exit, it means nothing.
Yeah,
this is Jake Boyle from Caleb and Brown with Jake Claver. Listen to what they're talking about.
Which is incredible, especially if there's not a ton of liquidity in a certain asset. Like, you're limited to whatever that exchange has availability to.
Right. And if you can log into the exchange too, that's sometimes half the problem.
Yeah, well, especially when there's a lot of price action. Coinbase is notorious for going down during those periods of time. When we saw the announcement that XRP wasn't a security uphold, and their interface went down, and they operate on a very similar model to you guys and how they source liquidity, but they still have a singular point of failure, right? Whereas you can call somebody there and say, "Hey, mate, I want to execute this trade. This is the price I'm looking for. Go find that for me," right?
Oh yeah,
and you guys command a premium for that, but it's very well justified. Like I said, you're not going to find that anywhere else. You're not going to have access to somebody. Are you guys 24/7?
We're 24/7. So if any of these coins pump dramatically at 1 o'clock in the morning of Christmas Day, for example, and if history repeats itself, there always ends up being volatility on these days. No one ever catches a break. But what happens is we've got staff all across Australia. We've got staff throughout the US. We've got staff throughout Europe, Melbourne, Sydney, you name it. And it's all dedicated about the customer. I mean, every single person who's customer facing has complete context over every individual client they're responsible for. So what that means is, if we already have had a conversation and we know what your exit strategy is, you've set up an LLC, for example, you've got certain coins in your ledger, you've got some coins with us, you've got limit orders at target prices, maybe you've got stop limits, whatever the case may be. We know that in advance because we speak as humans, peer-to-peer directly. And that way, if the client comes in on Christmas Day and says, "Hey, I need you to get out of this position. I need euros sent to my bank account and US dollars sent here," it's a 2-minute conversation, a 1-second trade. The funds are in your account by the time you wake up the next day. It's really simple in that regard.
Yeah. So is that kind of the expectation on wires? I've done some transactions with you guys, and it has been next day. Is that pretty normal? Doesn't really matter where it is in the world that you guys are dealing with?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter where in the world the client is. I'd say the biggest variable is probably the recipient's bank. Yeah. So if you're using like a local credit union that has a few thousand customers and it needs a intermediary, that might add an extra business day. I'm sure you've had this conversation about this.
Okay, you get the picture. If you want to go open an account like I did, so that you're ready when you make your exit, my partner is Caleb and Brown, and that's the guy that was talking there, Jake Boyle from Caleb and Brown. I made it very easy. I created a .com. Go to xrpwealth589.com, and it will forward you straight to this page, on my page here on Caleb and Brown, and click sign up today. Don't wait until the market's humming. I did put a little reminder out here, 36 days. Go to xrplasvegas.com to get your tickets. Here's this is last year's XRP Las Vegas. We started small at the at Treasure Island, but last year was at the MGM Grand, and they did such a good job. This year it's at the MGM Grand again. I'm looking forward to it. The prices, they've surged, of course, the last 24 hours. We've had a little bit of a pullback, but it feels like more of a like a surge, then a little dip, and then maybe we'll get us a big surge today. Let's hope for that. Raoul Pal kind of called it here. He was talking about the 12-week lead on M2 money and how Bitcoin usually follows with its own surge. And it did. It has. And XRP did too. Breaking White House slashing China tariffs to de-escalate trade war. And then you've got U.S. tariffs on China will likely be reduced by 50%. U.S. tariffs on China likely reduced. Trump allowing China to save face. Not safe. I need to change that. To save face, which will lead to negotiations, which will lead to a deal, which will lead to skyrocketing economic numbers. The crypto economic boom is coming. End of the war in Ukraine. Cascading tariff deals reached, including China. Interest rates lowered. Stablecoin infrastructure legislation. XRP ETFs unleashed. Crypto taxes removed, ? And eyeballs. Don't get caught watching the paint dry from one of my favorite movies, Shooter and Hoosiers. Look at this. Spot Bitcoin ETFs went Pac-Man mode yesterday. 936 million, 1.2 billion for the week. Also notable is 10 out of 11 of the originals all took in cash too. Now, folks, remember, right now, Bitcoin really doesn't have any competition. This is all by design, folks. They have to keep the Bitcoin money, the new money pumping in as long as they can before this utility through legislation actually hits the ground. And that is what they're doing. I believe they're trying to solidify Bitcoin's position because they know that Bitcoin's got a little problem when real world utility comes in from all the things that are coming, DeFi and tokenization of everything. Check this out. Here's another clip from the Ethereum CEO about his 2-time long daily XRP ETF.
Leverage 2 times long XRP ETF. You launched it at a good time because we're seeing this bounce back in the cryptocurrency itself. But who is this for? Who is coming into this ETF in its first 9 or so trading days?
Well, I think the XRP community, they really are a bit of a cult. They are dedicated people, and rightfully so. There are a lot of XRP wallets, I think more than 6 million out there. So we know there's pent-up demand to tap into XRP in a more traditional Wall Street wrapper. Now, it's not so traditional that you go with leverage, that's the point. But this specific product is geared towards traders who have a short-term view, to primarily one-day view of what XRP's price moves might be. This allows them in a traditional brokerage account to achieve leverage without a margin account.
Are you seeing those folks actually adopt it right now?
As an ETF issuer, we don't see directly who buys them, but we believe it's a mix of professionals and retails trading their own accounts.
What do you think of retail getting in on it? Is it risky?
Of course it's risky. Leverage funds are always risky, and people need to be very careful. I think sophisticated retail traders are in this. I hope that the non-sophisticated traders do their homework first before they set their foot in this.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like volatility is the point, right? You want the action, you want the ups and downs that come with a lot of these coins. I'm curious about what working with the SEC was like, because a year ago, I think it would have been really hard to get this approved. And even though Paul Atkins only recently got confirmed, actually got in the chair, it seems like this SEC is already more permissive, more open-minded to these sorts of products.
Absolutely. The key difference is the old SEC regime was a blocker. They acted literally as a block. The leadership in the SEC worked against the crypto industry, I believe. And now we had this little gap before the new SEC commissioner was approved. And that's when we got our fund approved, just because we followed the rules. We thought the time was right. It was. We applied as soon as we could, meaning the old regime had left and wouldn't block us. And we simply listed as soon as we could, following the normal rules. The staff is really wonderful at the SEC. They're knowledgeable. They push back when they need to, and they accept our pushback. It's the leadership that matters. The old leadership was a blocker to crypto.
Oh, yeah, you think? Look, PayPal's going to pay 3.7% yield on their PYUSD stablecoin to boost adoption. You think RLUSD is going to be paying yield? I'll bet dimes to donuts. Altcoin season 2025 incoming. Same setup, same retest, same disbelief before liftoff. Last time it ended in a 10-time rally This time might be bigger. Let the madness begin. Yeah. Remember this little clip? He says it somewhere in here. XRP has been suppressed intentionally, folks.
XRP respond. How would the market respond here on April 16th?
On April 16th.
That's potentially when the lawsuit would be final.
I think the market would love it, right? I do think, from my 30,000 foot view, specific to XRP, I think there is a significant chunk of the crypto market that has sort of written it off or forgotten about it. And I think that part of the market is wrong. I think the reality is XRP has been, suppressed by litigation for multiple years.
It's been suppressed by everything they could possibly try. Even now, it's attempted to be suppressed by all the Bitcoin maxi whack jobs out there. Now, this is David Stravinsky. He's a financial planner. He was on with Liz Clayman from Fox Business, and he hit it. There's a reason he names XRP first. He's right over the target. Look, the algorithms of the future, the value's always been has always been in the protocol. The XRP ledger is the internet of value. There's a reason you've had this whole Bitcoin thing going all these years. They know if they don't get rapid adoption before utility kicks in, they're in trouble.
So there's a couple of coins that I really enjoy right now. XRP is really important. Cardano and ADA is another one that's very important. I don't think a lot of people really even know about. Solana is a very important coin with the NFTs, lower cost ways of transacting and doing things. But ultimately, the world is moving towards real world tokenized assets. And so whether we're talking gold, silver, real estate, mortgages, this is where everything's moving right now. And so if we look at this more as the algorithms of the future, as opposed to trying to look at this as, is this the next form of money, then I think that we're going to have a better understanding where we are.
Okay, so then we got this from Stuart Alderati, and I'll stop here. Great minds, well, at least one is for sure. This is SEC Chair Paul Atkins on Tuesday, called it a new day at the Wall Street Radio's first public remarks. Here's Stuart Alderati. It's a new day when they announced Paul Atkins' confirmation calendar. Okay, we're going to go in the group now, and we're going to ask why Ripple and XRP matter. We're going to talk about plans within plans and my they all know theory, or they've been briefed. So go to the Patreon through daixrp.com, or you can click the join button below this YouTube video, or any of my YouTube videos if you'd rather join through YouTube. I'm the digital asset investor. Sorry. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, tell your friends and family. Away we go.